I think things need to be happening a lot faster. I mean, the attention span is so short. Whether it's like advertisements going from like this 30-second spot to 10 seconds to capture your attention, things are needing to be snappier and louder and more in your face. There's also so much competition happening, and so I think everybody's just kind of like trying to grab to get people's eyeballs on their brands, to get people to engage quicker.
This is Velocitize Talks, and I'm Eric Jones. I'm here with Adam Scher, the co-founder and creative director of CMYK. Adam, great to have you.
Yeah, awesome to be here.
Tell us a little bit about CMYK and what makes you stand out in the agency landscape.
CMYK is a digital studio based here in Brooklyn, New York. And I think one of the things that really makes us special is we're a pretty small and agile team, which allows us to have a lot of diversity in the ways that we're able to work with our clients. We don't just offer one type of service in one type of industry, and are really able to work with our clients to create like a custom solution based on the needs of the organization. And a lot of times that looks really different for every type of client, because every type of client's going to have a different need. They're in a different industry, have a different position, and so it allows us to create a really unique deliverable based on their team.
How have you seen digital evolve, since the time of founding CMYK to today?
I mean, there's a lot more possibilities now with what we can do with digital, and I think that creates like a really open canvas in terms of what we can create for our clients. I think specifically we've seen content be a huge driving factor in terms of the digital platforms that we're creating for our clients, making a space for them to kind of tell their stories, and whether it's through social or video or long form content or short form content, and creating a space for them to engage with their audience that's deeper than just like a brochureware website.
And how do you think WordPress, from among the other CMS platforms, sort of helps brands do that, tell their stories a little bit better?
I mean, WordPress is so flexible, and I think that that's one of the main reasons why we're using it almost exclusively with our clients. Specifically, we really think about the strategy in terms of how they're going to use their website, trying to create the most streamlined and automated process for them. We understand that updating your website takes time. Time is money, money is resources. And so we really think about how our clients are going to be using their website to create and generate content, and really customizing the platform for that. One of the things that we really think about is empowering our clients to know how to update and use their website. And I think that there's not as steep of a learning curve with the WordPress CMS that there is with other platforms. And so it's not as intimidating to try to learn how to update that. And I think that our clients really appreciate that they're able to go into the back end and update almost any part of their website without having to call us. If they want to change an image or change a word or add more content or move some things around, if we're able to create something that's flexible, that gives them the ability to do that, it's going to make everything a lot more seamless and quick.
Have you gotten any feedback from clients on the new editing experience?
On the Guttenberg?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Guttenberg it's awesome. I mean, I think that people learn visually, and if they can see what it looks like and it more closely reflects what the final outcome is going to be, there's just more intuitive response to what they're going to be able to do. And so people have really liked that. I mean, there was a little bit of a learning curve for me to have to switch from the classic editor to this block editor, just because I was so trained in how that worked. But I think that with how we're able to customize the WordPress backend and integrate that with this new block editor, it really makes updating the website so much easier.
Adam, CMYK has been involved in a ton of innovative projects, from the interactive web platform that you guys built for Believer magazine all the way through to the campaign that you did for Muti tomatoes. Tell us a little bit about those projects and what made them stand out.
I think at the core of what we do, CMYK really tries to be storytellers, and we try to figure out what a brand's narrative is and how we can tell that story in a really authentic and engaging way. Every brand is unique and has a unique story to tell. With Believer specifically, I think the challenge was how do we take this physical object and create a digital experience that can really speak to the physicality of a magazine? Believer is an indie literature mag that's beautifully illustrated, and it's like a beautiful object to hold. And so one of the design challenges with that specifically was taking that physical object and creating this interactive experience that really reflected the act of reading a magazine. And we really looked at how we could create a non-traditional navigation style that reflected like a table of contents with the magazine. The magazine also changes color with every publication. So there's a unique color scheme to every issue of the magazine. So we gave them the ability to change the colors of the website and the WordPress backend to match the colors of that month's publication. And that then ties into the illustrative elements. And so I think creating that one-to-one experience just created something that really felt special. With Muti Tomatoes, we were tasked with a unique design challenge. They're a tomato brand that's coming to the US. They're the #1 product in Italy, but they don't have much of a market share here in the United States. So how do you come up with a sexy and compelling way to like teach an audience about tomatoes? Not normally kind of like the subject that you would think has that type of appeal. And so we pitched them this authentic way of reaching out to chefs and going into chefs' homes to learn why chefs cook and how they cook with their products, to create more of an engaging and authentic way to show potential consumers how and why Muti Tomato is like the leading brand of tomato products. It's not this like hands in pans cooking video that you would see traditionally. And it was really cool to get to go into these chefs' kitchens in New York and see what their kitchens look like and how they cook. Again, just creating like a more authentic relationship between the brand and the consumer that has just like a little bit more humanity in it.
How important do you think it is for brands to infuse values into everything that they do today? Or do you think it's okay for them to sit on the sidelines?
I mean, I think that that's a very timely question. I think brands are expected to participate and to have a voice with things that affect all of our lives. You look at what's happening right now with Chick-fil-A. I think that that's something that's been in the news. Things travel fast with social media, and consumers have a voice, and consumers have power in terms of how they're affecting these large brands. And Chick-fil-A is having to really make a stance in terms of where they're donating to organizations and charities to make sure that consumers are in line with their values. And I think it's a really interesting space because before social media had so much reach, I think it was not as transparent in terms of what brands were doing and what their values and missions are. But now people have an expectation that the brands are going to be in line with their values and their missions. And it's much more important for brands to kind of step up and do the right thing to make sure that there's an ecosystem where everybody is working together for the same mission.
I'm kind of curious, since you guys do so much design work, as you think about 2020, what are some of the design elements that you see becoming more popular?
I think that there is this move towards customization and personalization that we're seeing. People using technology are expecting a more personalized, curated experience. And so I think that with technology moving forward, brands are looking at how they can create that curated experience for their user. For better or for worse, there's so much information about us that is shared that brands are able to tap into. And having that kind of personalized experience, whether you're viewing a website and it makes recommendations based on what it thinks you're going to like, or being able to personalize your own web experience, I think that that's going to become more and more expected as time goes forward.
One of the questions we love asking our guests is a book, blog, or podcast that you'd like to recommend to our viewers.
I've been listening to Time Sensitive. It's a podcast that's produced by The Slowdown by Spencer Bailey and Andrew Zuckerman. It's a really interesting podcast that focuses on the concept of time. And they're these long-form interviews with people from Google, Paper Magazine. They just recently did one with David Duchovny, where they really dive into experts in arts, media, tech, business, And you learn a lot about their artistic process and their methodology, and it's all kind of wrapped in this concept of time. Very, very interesting, especially because they don't do a lot of editing and post-production to their podcast. So it really is this kind of really nice long-form interview where you really get into like the meat of the conversation.
Nice. Adam, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
That was Adam Scher, the co-founder and creative director of CMYK.